McNair gives it to George, running right up the middle. Touchdown! Titans! There are no flags on the field! It's a miracle!
Safety, now you're one-on-one with the...
Shows why he's the man! In trouble. Sack!
Ladies and gentlemen, Titan Nation, welcome back to another episode of Mr. Titan. We have yet the biggest guest I could say on my career on this channel. We have the legend himself, Mr. Titan himself, Eddie George. How you doing, Eddie?
Alex, I am doing great, man. How are you? First of all, let me just say this, man. I appreciate the platform that you have for our organization. I know that we have been going through it, ups and downs in terms of the season, and we just don't have enough passionate fans like yourself that are supportive of the organization and paying homage to a lot of the former players that have played and the teams that were really good, the coaches and so forth. So thank you for doing this, man. It shows that I really appreciate your passion and your love for the Tennessee Titans.
I appreciate it. And it kind of comes full circle, Eddie. You're the first person that I got introduced as a player, as a team itself when the Titans became the Titans. And again, I'm from Miami, and all my family are Dolphin fans. And I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to go the other way. And again, 99 is when I started watching football, saw Steve McNair, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go my own way. And I went with the Tennessee Titans, and I haven't looked back. So thank you for making me a Titans fan, man.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I see all that
Oh,
paraphernalia in the back, man. The Oilers, Titans, Titan Country, McGrath, Pollard,
yeah.
Walker. Where's Mac? Where's Mac? Watch, I see a Steve McNair picture.
Yeah, we
Uh,
got you right over here. We got Chris Johnson over
okay.
here.
Chris Johnson. Where's Derrick Henry at?
Derrick Henry, I actually have a cutout of Derrick Henry. He just fell down because he broke, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. I see some Oiler stuff. Are we talking Earl Campbell, George Blanda?
Yeah,
Are we
we got
doing Warren Moon?
Warren Moon. Yes, sir.
Ernest Givens? Are we
Yeah.
doing Ernest Givens?
Yeah, we
See,
have
we're good.
a sign right there. We have I mean, for the most part, I try to mix it up. Like I said, I have Delaney Walker, I have Gerald McGrath, uh, Bernard Pollard, just players I've had on the show. And
Mhm.
it's usually kind of my go-to is like, hey, once you're on the show, I got to put you in the back. So eventually you'll be in the back right there. I mean, I do have
I
you in the
love
back. Yeah. So
I
yeah.
love it.
But let's talk a little bit about you, man. Your love of football, was that your first go-to when you were growing up? And what got you into football?
Man, that was my only go-to. As far as I can remember, I always had a football in my hand or a helmet or just, just remembering my father's trophies that were shaped like the football player and playing with it on the floor, taking um, bread ties and playing. I mean, as long as I can remember, I always loved the game of football,
Mhm.
everything associated with it. My father would take me to little league practices and little league games in Philadelphia. It was the Upper Dublin Cardinals, and ironically, they wore scarlet and gray. And I just loved spending time with him, and in the summer and the fall and the winter, and when it was cold, and going to the games and how he talked about all the great players. And I always wanted my dad to talk about me the same way. So that that love was always there because he loved the game. That was our connection. And ever since then, man, I fell in love with it and played it at a high level. And yeah, so that's it.
What team did you go for back in the day? I mean you were born in
Yeah,
Philadelphia.
well, I was an Eagle fan. I grew up an Eagle fan, for sure. I grew up a Penn State fan, college wise.
Okay.
But I love the running back position.
Yeah.
I love watching running backs. Whether it was Earl Campbell, O.J. Simpson, and Billy Sims, um, Walter Payton, Jim Brown. It didn't matter. I loved the running back position because back then it was a position that was highly regarded. It was You had the quarterback, but the running back was like the star of the show because
Yeah,
everybody was trying to get him.
yeah.
You know, the quarterback handed the ball off to the running back, and it was him against the world. And I would often envision myself, um, being a dominant back, playing in the snow, and playing in inclement weather. That was it. Toting the rock was
Mhm.
it. My father always used to say, "In the rain, sleet, or snow, the mail must be delivered." So it was carrying the mail, So that was it.
I love it. I love it. Was there any person in particular that you kind of wanted to model yourself after, um, playing running back?
Um, yes, there were a few backs. Well, Jim Brown, my father always talked about him. I studied Walter Payton. He was just the perfect balance of speed and power,
Okay.
balance, vision. He played with great heart. There was a highlight video of Walter I used to always play, and it just showed everything, his toughness, his hard runs. He was the one that says hit them before they hit you.
Mhm.
You impose your pain, you impose the blow, you deliver the blow. And he was a tough-nosed son of a gun, man, a soft-spoken man, but he was the guy, in terms of the guy you wanted to study. And then I gravitated toward Barry Sanders, and nobody's going to be like Barry. I mean, that's just a talent that's God-given, but just his ability to make guys miss and hit the home run. Bo Jackson, Eric Dickerson. I mean, the list goes on and on. I was a running back connoisseur, and I just loved the position so much that I had to play it.
Interesting. And towards high school, going into college, was again, did you want to go to Penn State or were you looking at other schools? And what schools were you interested in, or what schools were interested in you?
I was really interested in Penn State, but they wanted me to play linebacker, and again, I wanted to run the ball.
Mhm.
So Ohio State gave me the opportunity to compete to play running back. And the other schools like Virginia, I was seriously considering Virginia,
Okay.
um, BYU, Louisville, schools like that. But it was just something about Ohio State that reeked of excellence and tradition, and um, they loved football. I mean, the Buckeyes. When you go into that stadium, it is quite a treat. It's considered the cathedral of most college football stadiums, and because of the rich history that it holds. You know, so yeah, that was there were some other options there, but Ohio State gave me the opportunity to at least play running back.
Gotcha, gotcha. And when you got to Ohio State, how was it, man? Like I said,
Mhm.
Heisman 95. Let's list some of the accomplishments. I could go on. I could have
Uh,
a list of accomplishments, man. But go ahead.
well, I had some early troubles there. I fumbled twice at the goal line against Illinois in my freshman year. Never to see the field again until my junior year. Had some great success there, and it was a tough time, but I worked through it. I didn't jump in the portal. I didn't run away from adversity. I ran toward it. It was scary, but it was necessary. So as a result of it, I was able to um, become a All-American, Doak Walker Award winner, a Walter Camp Award winner, a Jim Brown Award winner, a ton of first All-Team, All-American teams, of course, the Heisman, an SB Award. So it was just a long list of all Big Ten, a Big Ten Player of the Year, all of it, man. It was just an awesome season where everything came together.
Now, out of those accomplishments and those awards that you just listed there, which one meant the most to you and why?
You know what? They all mean something. I can't sit up here and separate one over the other. Of course, the Heisman is probably the most prestigious award that a person can win, but it really exemplifies the your team. It's a team award. All of them are team awards, and that's what it comes down to. I'm a representative of the era. You know, it wasn't just me that won the Heisman. It was my defensive players because I had to sharpen iron against them, like Mike Vrabel and Luke Fickell and Lorenzo Styles and Sean Springs, Anthony Gwynn, guys like that. And Orlando Pace, who would block for me, Terry Glenn. So it was the entire environment. It was the staff, the coaching staff, my position coach Tim Spencer, who really poured into me and challenged me to be the best running back in the country, not by just physically, but by mentally and detail oriented. Knowing what I had to do, how I needed to get done, and execute. It was a combination of everyone. It was Dave Kennedy, our strength and conditioning coach, who I spent the most time with and who was a very dear friend of mine because he challenged me physically, mentally, emotionally to be physically tough. So it all comes back to that. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Interesting, interesting. All right. Now we talk about that, talk about college. Now we go into the NFL. Now, draft day. Are you looking for a certain team or are you just kind of trying to plug in? And how was it getting drafted by the Oilers?
Well, first of all, the draft is a dream come true for anybody. Um, so to be there in that position is awesome. But with that said, I'm a competitor. And when I got drafted 14th instead of, projected 10th to this projected ninth pick overall, I was hot, But
Okay.
they traded down and trade back up to get me at 14. And I was elated, but I was ready to get to work. I had something to prove at that point in time.
So you had
I
nice.
told my agent,
Yeah.
I told my agent that night at dinner, I said, hey, just get me in on time and I'll take care of the rest. you know, but no, the Oilers is a historic organization where they're one of the first teams to really help crystallize the NFL, bridge the gap between the AFL and the NFL as we
Mhm.
know it today. And Bud Adams led that charge, or was one of the founding fathers, with Lamar Hunt, among others. Um, and to be on the Oilers was awesome because of the history of Earl Campbell and Warren Moon, the House of Pain days. And they were an organization on the rise. So I didn't want to be a part of it. They drafted me. I had no choice. But um, I just knew that they were in the process of possibly moving to Nashville, Tennessee at that particular time.
Definitely. So you already kind of knew about it in advance, correct?
Oh yeah, it was done. It was in the news. I just didn't know how real it was. That
Okay.
was the trick. I didn't know if it was a real situation or whether they were just trying to renegotiate a lease deal with the Astrodome to get them to buy, or build a new stadium. So I just didn't know, and I didn't think it was going to happen because they still had 3 years left on the lease. Well, they said, what the heck with it, let's end it now after my rookie year and just go our separate ways. And Tennessee can go, or the Oilers can go up to Nashville.
hmm And how was your experience, your first game as a Houston Oiler? Like I said, you guys played in the
Hmm.
what's it called in Memphis? Sorry, Liberty.
Memphis.
There we go.
No, we played now as an Oiler, as a Houston Oiler, or as a Tennessee Oiler.
Oh, that's right. Okay, let's do Houston Oiler, and then when you guys did the switch to Tennessee Oilers, there we go.
All right, my first game as an Oiler was against the Kansas City Chiefs against a slew of Hall of Famers. Dale Carter was a corner. You had Derrick Thomas as the defensive end. Neil Smith was another defensive end. Say the least, they were picked to win the whole thing, the Super Bowl. And I must have had 14 yards that day. And I questioned whether I could play in this league because they were so fast and physical. Um, and I just kept working. The Jeff and the staff was like, "Hey, we're just gonna ease him into this," because I was overwhelmed that first game. But I calmed down. I wind up winning Rookie of the Year, rushed for over 1,300 yards at the I think 1,368, and was a first alternate for the Pro Bowl, my rookie year. So it was phenomenal.
Nice. That's not too bad, Eddie. I don't think that's bad at
Nah.
all, man. Now, you said the first game you kind of got overwhelmed, and is that one of the biggest difference in college compared to NFL is just the how fast how faster the guys are?
Yeah, I mean, there is an adjustment of speed. You go from college to professional, and it is like a blur. It is literally you're trying to get your eyes right, whether whatever position you're playing. And then your eyes settle down, you get used to it throughout training camp, and for the most part, throughout the first couple of months. And then there's that first kickoff game, the first game of the year. Then it speeds back up again because the adrenaline's rushing and everything's happening fast, and you're going to make plenty of mistakes. And then that settles down, and you start to see things. You start to see what the coaches are talking about because you're seeing it from the film to the field.
Mhm.
And then, if you're blessed enough to get to the playoffs, is that another level of speed? So getting used to the speed is one thing because everybody on this level, whether you've been drafted or not, is a dude, and they can run, they can hit, they can do all the great things.
Mhm. Now, your relationship with a Steve McNair, how did that unfold? Maybe your first interactions and anything like that.
My relationship with Steve was always great off the top. He was somebody that I looked up to coming out of college because of who he was. He was Aaron McNair on the cover of SI magazine, and there was Steve Mack. He had his reputation preceded him. He was always a down to earth guy. Our relationship just kind of grew as I got better, he got better. Les Steckel, who was our offensive coordinator, said to us, "Hey, I'm gonna make you guys the best players you can possibly be. I want you to be in Hall of Fame one day. That's how much I believe in you two." And we were called Batman and Robin. I was Robin. He was Batman. So it was a great relationship. Off the field and on the field.
No, definitely. And I know I had had a couple players talking about. I even had Steve Waterson on, and he explained, how Steve never he didn't like practicing that much. He
Mhm.
liked to do his thing, and Steve would always be on him. He's like him and me were butt heads all the times, and Steve was great. Steve was awesome. Just he's been in the Oilers since what, for like 32 years, NFL
Yeah.
record, so he had really interesting insights on each segment of Titans history. And one thing I wanted to know from you is because I've had I had Craig Hendrick on, and I remember talking to him like, "Hey man, how did it feel like when you guys introduced the uniforms and stuff?" He's like, "Well, I was next to Eddie George, so it's the kicker, and then you have a running back, and he's like, I felt kind of goofy. How was it that day? If you can walk through me through the uniform reveal, and what'd you think of your new gear?"
But there were certain rumors out there that it was this certain color. We didn't quite see them. It was this and that, and we were all excited because we were getting a new Dame and some new threads. Because prior to that, we were wearing the same white uniforms from
Yep.
Houston with no updates or tweaks to it. So um, get the name, the Titans. Like, okay, that's cool. And then we see the uniforms. We were like, oh, okay, nice. Then we start putting the different combinations of uniforms you can put together. 'Cause back then, it was just the white and the blue.
Yep.
That was it. And you can wear the white jersey with the blue pants, or all blue, or all white, white jersey. It was just a nice little combination, and I think that it resonated with the fans.
What was your favorite combination that you went with?
Ah, I'm classic. I like the all white.
Okay.
All white was clean. I love all white
I
uniforms.
wish they brought that back. You know how I know they like to bring back the Houston Oilers stuff, which is cool, but bring back the white helmet. I really dig the white helmet and the old school uniform. That's again, that's
I mean, are you a fan of the new uniform look, or what are your thoughts?
it's okay. I don't like the dark blue helmet. I say stick with the white helmet. I always like the white helmet. The jersey itself, it's okay. Like I said, I'm a little bit old school. I still
It's too much going on, right? Like
yeah,
I'm
I'm
looking at the
always a
jersey.
fan
I'm
of
looking
the
at the jersey behind you. It's the gray. You got the blue, the dark blue.
the lady. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the light blue going on, and the numbers, and
Yeah, I mean, look compared to like Bernard Pollard's one. Like it look how like
yeah,
little
it's
pop.
cleaner.
Like
It's cleaner.
it's nice. I
Yeah.
just so again, I get it though. They wanted, I guess, to do another reamp and stuff like that. But
Uh-huh.
like I said, I was always fond of the original old school Titans one. But um, let's talk about. You say you're a competitor. Let's talk about some competitors on the other side of the football. I mean, we already know, right? Ray Lewis was your number one
Hmm.
enemy, right?
Hmm.
Is there any other players that you love to go against that was, that maybe didn't get as much talk as a Ray Lewis, Eddie George, but you still love to go against?
The entire Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Rod Woodson to Carnell Lake to Lee Flowers. You had Holmes, Joey Porter, Chad Brown. Good Lord, who was in the middle? Like a huge nose guard. You had Levon Kirkland. I mean, pick and choose, man. They were the epitome of what a physical, hard-nosed team is. When you think of the Steelers defense, you
Mhm.
think of the steel curtain. Oh, you felt the steel. I mean, it was very physical. So Baltimore was definitely one thing, and they were tough, but certainly the Steelers were just as tough, if not tougher.
What environment, playing wise, was the worst in your opinion?
Going to Baltimore, or going to Pittsburgh, those were some tough environments because they had passionate fans. More so Baltimore because there was a real hate between us and Baltimore.
Yeah.
And it was a hornet's nest you going into those places sometimes, man. And your family don't wear tell them not to wear your jersey or
Mhm.
any Titan gear because they'll get into a fight in the stands because that it was that hostile.
That's and it's still like that. The Raven
Hmm.
is still there, even though
Yeah,
like, a lot of people love Derrick Henry. I love Derrick Henry, but still, see him wearing that purple, and Titans have
I
history.
know.
Man, and don't get me wrong, it's clean. It looks good.
Right.
It does, but still, that purple is.
It's disgusting to me. I can't stand their uniforms. Can't stand them. I think they're ugly, to be honest with you, but that's just me.
Hey, that's nice. That's good. Now let's talk about some plays as being a Titan. What is your top? We'll do three favorite plays of all time for you as a Titan.
Oh, wow. Uh, in any particular order?
Yeah, we don't have to do like no number thing or
Now,
anything.
all time, or just
Let,
my time?
let's do your time, your personal, and then we'll do it like that.
Okay, my personal. Okay, me personally. Oh man, I would say the run against the Raiders was one of my favorite moments, and that was in Memphis on opening day. I to go. I think was it to tie the game up or going to overtime. I can't quite remember, but it was hot, and we just imposed our will on the Oakland Raiders at that particular time, and we wound up winning that game in overtime. I would say the 68-yard run against Indianapolis, another one. Let's see. Oh. there was the game in Cleveland, Ohio. You can pick one of three of those touchdowns in the snow game. Yes.
Snow game. I remember the pictures of that, and that's now when you're behind, you're watching Steve McNair, and you guys are ready, and he's about to snap the ball and stuff like that. What's your first go-to? What's the play-by-play of Eddie George? Let's do Eddie Vision. What's
Mhm.
happening? You know the play. You can give any play you want that the Titans run.
Mhm.
The first thing, who are you looking for? What are you looking for? Go ahead.
Well, again, it depends on the play. Like if it's inside, if it's gut, it's like 14 gut is too tight formation. Both tight ends are on the ball, and it's a single back inside zone.
Mhm.
And the first thing I'm thinking is, what's the front? What can I anticipate based on the front? Are we running to the bubble, to the three technique, or not? So if we're running to the three technique, I think to myself, I'm going to do um, open step, crossover downhill, keeping my shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, press the hole. Don't fall back sides too early. Press it, press it, press it. Come back off the top. Locate the safety because he's unblocked. So therefore, either I got to drop the hammer on him or make a miss. If it's the first quarter, I'm dropping the hammer on him 9 times out of 10 to set the tone and impose my will. If it's getting late in the fourth quarter, he will make a business decision whether he wants to deal with this again or
Mhm.
get out the way. So that was kind of like my thought process from play to play.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, your favorite your favorite memory as a Titan.
Mm. Favorite memory as a Titan, there. Oh man, beating Jacksonville in Jacksonville when Derrick Henry when Derrick Mason took the
Ball.
ensuing punt return back after the safety for a touchdown. That's kind of when I knew we were going to the Super Bowl, and that was an awesome experience to share with your teammates when the
Definitely
AFC championship in
beat them three times.
yep, in Jacksonville.
Times. Now playing in the Super Bowl, man. Again, dream come true, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did that game? How were your nerves? Like I said, I've gotten every single person that was on that team, their perspective, and even got Kevin Carter, who was playing you with
Mm-hmm.
the Rams, you know,
Mm-hmm.
his opinion on that. Tell me yours.
Um, I would say, what was it like playing in it?
Yep, just
It was
the whole thing in
it
general.
was it was like a blur. It was a dream come true, Alex. It happened so fast, the quarters, and
Really?
before you know it, we were in the second half in a dogfight. We were down, and it almost kind of took us a while to get used to the rhythm of the game because it didn't feel like a game. It felt like a game was happening, but there was more external things happening than actually the game. But once we got settled down in the game, we just said we had to play our type of football, and that's to throw iron fists at these dudes. Because we played them earlier that year, we were able to beat them in Adelphia at the time. So, um, yeah, it was once we got through. Hey, we're in the Super Bowl. We got comfortable because we felt like we belonged, and we just wanted to throw our best at them and try to find ways to get back into the game. And when we tied it up, there was no doubt that we were going to win. There was
Yeah,
no doubt we were going to find a way to win, and we damn near did it with that final play of the game with Kevin Dyson.
yeah, yeah. Again, it's something. And Kevin Carter told me this special. He's like, listen, he's like, they were gonna score. If they were gonna score, it was to tie the game. He said that to tie the game, not to win the
Right.
game. I was like, listen, Kevin,
But we would have went for two had we had gone for it,
there you
and
go.
we got the touchdown.
That was the plan, right?
Yeah, it was a plan.
Oh man, oh man. Jeff Fisher. Let's talk a little
Hmm.
bit about him. Your relationship with Jeff Fisher, him as a coach, anything um that he taught you that you kind of instill into coaching now.
Yeah, there's a lot. His scheduling, his feel for where his teams are, Jeff has a ability to adjust and make the proper adjustments, whether it's to ramp things up or take things away and become more simple and streamlined. And he's intentional about what he needs his team to do as far as recovery, and weightlifting and so forth. He had a real good knack behind that. Like an example of that is that during the course of a season, I remember in 1998 when we were playing against the last game of the year. We weren't going to the playoffs.
Hmm.
We were going back and forth. We were playing in Dandy, and we played the Minnesota Vikings, who had a historic year that year, won 15 games, 15-1, and it was an ice storm that whole week, and we couldn't practice. So he said, "Hey, go go to your meetings, get your meeting time in, and go to sleep." you know, and we didn't wind up winning the game, but we were able to make it a game because we were fresher.
Gotcha.
And that stood out to me like, oh wow, I'm learning this as a coach. Like, how do you make those adjustments? How do you know? You just watch the teams and you feel it. You can feel the fatigue. You can feel like, oh my God, this is a grind. I need to catch my breath. Maybe the team needs it too. You know what I'm saying? So you as a coach, you develop that, and that's something that has been very valuable to me when it comes to Jeff and his game planning and game management, team management, recovery, all of that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, after that, your career in the NFL, you kind of took on a couple other things, right?
Hmm.
About playing Billy Finn in Chicago Broadway, man. That's kind of
Yeah.
cool. That's kind of something out of your element. Is it something that you always wanted to do and just football was kind of
Well,
there?
well, I was acting a long time prior to me playing Billy Flynn on Chicago. I think that was what people really thought that, man, what is he doing? But I was
Mhm.
acting, in here locally for the last 8 years prior to jumping on Broadway. So it prepared me for that very role, and it was something that I enjoyed doing. I would go back and do it again. The art of storytelling and imaginary circumstances, getting on the script, getting in the script, through the script, and really putting your artistry of the character through that, through the language, through the emotions, through all of it. So you're just being a human being and wearing that cloth for however long you're on stage and
Mhm.
however whatever you have to say. What do you want and what are you willing to do to get it as a character? So um, I've enjoyed it and it's helped me find my authentic voice,
Okay.
going through that process. And I've enjoyed it.
Is there any other role in the near future that
Mm.
you wanted to do or anything like that?
Yeah, I would love to do another Shakespearean role. I love Shakespeare. Oh, Othello, Julius Caesar. I've done those plays. Um, Richard III is an appealing one to me.
Okay.
It's such rich language, and it's still so apropos for today and what we're going through in real time in our history's time. So it resonates.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Now, what made you? Because, like I said, I could read you off the laundry list of achievements, awards, retired number as the Titans Hall of Fame, man. What made you want to go into coaching?
I never thought I wanted to be a coach.
Hmm.
Um, I was approached by someone to be a coach, and long story short, I didn't want to do it. But when they asked me if I wanted to do it, I began to think, man, what could I be as a coach? What could I do? How could I help? I mean, what does it mean, for me to become a coach? And it kept calling me. It kept pursuing me, just the ideas and the excitement that I had and the joy that I had in that moment, I still have now. So it
Okay,
tells me I'm right where I need to be.
exactly.
And ironically, all the training I did prior to that with acting and business and all of that just
Meshed together.
meshed together.
Yep.
And 4 years later, and OVC championship and a coach of the year, it's right where I need to be.
By the way,
Yeah,
congratulations. I mean,
I
like I
think.
said, all your hard work and everything you've done has
Hmm.
kind of molded itself to the person you are and the coach you are, man. So
Right.
that's cool. It's a full circle moment, and it just shows you that you use everything you do in your life has a meaning.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
it has to. It has to be intentional and purposeful.
yep.
Yeah.
Now, when are you gonna start coaching the Titans? I'm just saying.
Hey, Alex, right now I'm the head coach for the Tennessee State Tigers,
I
and
understand. I
yeah,
understand. I'm
yes.
just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. Uh, just throwing it out there, man. That's it. That's it.
Just know that if I ever were to do that, that I would change some things to the uniform.
That's okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
We remember we
yeah,
talked about it, man. All right,
yes,
that's fine.
yes.
Um, ta- talking about coaching, talking about the Titans, right? You saw the different eras. You've seen we had Chris Johnson, Derrick Henry. What
Mhm.
makes the Tennessee Titans organization? How come we always land on amazing running backs? What is it?
Well, it's a blueprint.
Yeah,
It's what we're known for, and goes back to Earl Campbell. And there's been some guys in that time frame too, between myself, Earl, myself, Chris, and Derek, that have also carried that same torch. Is what we believe in. We believe in a power run game with a course running back, and you're going to be balanced because of it. Because you have to be put a defense in situations where if you have to take care of a running back that gives you attention, you got to commit 8, 9 men in the box for that. It sets it up for your deep shots and one-on-one matchups on the outside.
mhm,
So, and it's up to the quarterback to execute that when you have the opportunity. So, um, is this an identity? When you think of certain teams, you think of Pittsburgh, you think of the Steel Curtain and the great defenses. When you think of the LA Rams, you think of power run game and a great defense. When you think of the Chicago Bears, the monsters of the Midway, it's a run game and a great defense. And when I think of the Oilers, I think of somewhat of the run and shoot with Warren Moon and those boys, but a very physical defense and a power run game. And that's exactly, what we continue to do and try to build on those foundational pieces. So it's um it's who we are. It's our identity, and they've done a nice job in their front office and scouting department to identify the talent at that position and really build around it because that's what we're known for is producing some pretty damn good running backs in the history of the league.
absolutely, 100%. Before I
Hmm.
let you go, man, Derrick Henry, we talked about it. There was talks that you gave him a little pep talk.
Hmm.
What did you say to Derrick?
Well, let me just say this. Derek sought out a lot of different guys. I mean, it was Sean Alexander,
Mhm.
myself, a few other people to help him figure out what was going on because the year that he got the nod to be the starter, it wasn't going very well, and there was circulation around the building that they might trade him.
Trade him, yep.
And he wasn't producing well. He wasn't hitting the hole right. He didn't see it right. And I basically told him to impose his will. That was my message, was to utilize your strengths. I said, listen, man, you're a 258-pound back. Use it. Nobody wants to see that for 4 quarters.
Yeah,
I said you have the breakaway speed. You're a home run threat. But it looks like to me you're trying to get it, manufacture it versus letting it come to you. So don't be afraid to take the hard two, the hard three, the hard four. That's going to lead to the hard five, the hard six, the hard seven, the hard 70, the easy 99, if you run that way. So he started doing that, man. And he is a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Fame running back right now because of the adjustments that he made to his mentality.
definitely. retired. He's gonna retire as a Titan, right?
I hope so. I can't listen. Derek left, Steve left, Samari left. All went to the doggone Ravens. I
Correct.
think Derek needs to come back to where it all started and be and retire a Titan.
I like that. Let's leave it off like that. Hey,
All
Eddie,
right.
it's been more than a pleasure. It's been a dream come true to have you on, man. I do appreciate you taking your time and talking a little bit about Titans football, about yourself, and you're such a vital piece to this whole organization. And I just want to say thank you from a fan to a player, man.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate you, man.
All right. God bless and tighten up, all right?
God bless you. When is this going to come out?
I probably will post it as soon as possible. I'll have to do some edits and send some people, and then
All right. Make sure you collaborate with me, okay?
absolutely, man.
All right, man.